So today we're going to start with our first video on health and disease, and yeah, let's get straight into it. What you'll be able to achieve by the end of this is you should be able to define the terms good health and disease, as well as outline / mind map the factors that, and there are three that we focus on, factors that contribute to good health. Okay, so first off, what is good health? Well, it's not just the absence of disease. There are two aspects to it. First, you're able to function well within your environment. This means your body will do what you need it to do to survive and be happy, and that's the next bit. And you need a sense of well-being. So you have to feel healthy, feel well, feel happy within your life. That's one of the things that makes you happy or makes you healthy. All right. So as I said, it goes beyond the absence of disease. It's more than that. While we're using that term, we should talk about what disease is. So a disease is basically anything that impairs or harms the function of an organism, and that's you, in your environment or in its environment. Okay. So these are the factors that focus on it, and we're going to essentially look at this one, and combine these two. We're not going to talk about sleep, but basically, if you're not getting enough sleep, you can't be healthy. Your metabolism will be affected. Your mental health will be affected. Stress will increase, etc. So sleep is ultra important. Alright, so let's start with nutrition. Now, we need nutrients to survive. It's just plain and simple. And they've got two main functions. The first function is that we use them for growth and repair. So repair of building of tissues, I should say, and as well as growth. That's horrible. I apologize. So growth and repair of tissue, as well as energy. That's the other thing we get from it. We get energy from our nutrients. So a balanced diet means you get everything you need. So you don't just focus on one aspect. So you don't just eat only the sugars or the carbohydrates. You get all of it. You need all of it. You can't cut a section of your diet out that's extremely unhealthy to do that. And that includes cutting out carbohydrates. You can't do it. You need them. Two types of nutrients. First, the macronutrients, which generally we measure in grams, so we're eating a bit more of it. That's macro. Macro means large. And they're your carbohydrates, proteins, sugar, and fats. And you need those, and you use those for energy. The next ones are your micronutrients, and these are used for structural or body function. So they basically small amounts we need for chemical reactions within the body, as well as fiber, which we use for all sorts of things. You need smaller quantities, and they're measured in either milligrams, so it's a thousandth of a gram, or micrograms, which are a millionth of a gram, so small amounts. And then we're going to talk about metabolism, and that's the rate that chemical reactions happen within the body. So it's the rate that you use the energy you have. And energy, by the way, we measure in kilojoules, and it's affected by your age, health, and the amount of activity you do, how fast or slow your metabolism goes. This is your, that's going to stay there. This is your, essentially a modern version of the food pyramid. It's changed again. We're still, your cereals, which is bread and potatoes and stuff, and muesli, that's still the main thing you're eating, and fruit and vegetables should be just as much, and then the rest is broken up between, say, sugars, milk, dairy, and fats, and meats. Meat is a protein, as is milk and dairy, so if you combine that and that, there's your protein, as well as some of the fats, and yeah. So, exercise. It's vital. You need it to maintain the body. You need it to keep it strong and moving. Otherwise, it starts to deteriorate. And that's ignoring putting on weight. I mean, it will just, part of the body will deteriorate if you don't use it. Now, the minimum they recommend is about 3 lots of 20 minutes of weight bearing exercise. Now, weight bearing exercise is exercise where you're working against gravity, so that's most ball sports, walking upstairs, running, jogging, etc. Now, the final one, and just as important as all of the others, is a healthy mind. So this is one of the things that gives you a sense of well-being. Now, on top of this, we can also use something called the placebo effect to help treat some diseases, some conditions. Usually subjective things like pain. Okay, so the placebo effect is this is a really important aspect, by the way, when we start talking about health research. The placebo effect is a perceived or imagined effect from a treatment, and it can really lead to a reduction in symptoms, subjective symptoms, so symptoms that are open to interpretation. Now, it is not, so this is what most, if not all, alternative medicines work with. So acupuncture does not cure anything, never has. How it works, though, is whether you believe it or not, you're receiving a treatment, so your body dials back the pain, and that's how acupuncture tends to work. As in, it doesn't really, but it can be useful for treatments of things like headaches, etc., which can be subjective. So if your mental state is not as good as it should be, these things can be worse, and sometimes the placebo effect is really useful in treating that. But they do not treat the underlying cause, and that's important to know. Generally, we refer to them as psychosomatic illnesses, which means psycho meaning mind, somatic meaning body, so mind to the body. So they're caused by thoughts and feelings, but they are very real. The effects are real and can be even life-threatening. So 3 examples are, we've got depression, and this can be life-threatening. It can lead to suicide, to just general unhealthy behaviour. And then we have anorexia nervosa, which is starvation due to all sorts of factors. And similar, but not quite the same, is bulimia nervosa. Now, this is it's characterized by a binge purge cycle, and so you eat and then you force yourself to throw up. Now, these two they're both psychosomatic illnesses. They have very real effects and can often cause loss of life as well as quality of life. Also important to realise that they're not just related to body image. They're a lot more complex than a lot of people give them credit for. Alright, so on that very positive and up note, let's make sure you've made some notes on that, and I'll see you in class.